It's like you even
is
know
why
them.
I feel like I should fucking record myself 24 fucking 7 a
This is
day.
interview.
I'm not
It's a
entertaining
strange
24/7 a day.
Oh, does it now?
But
It's
occasionally
a
I do
short clip,
come up
so I don't
with
know that it
pretty
recovers.
smart
Let's
ass
find out.
fucking comments.
A skeptic of yours, Russell. I appreciate you having me on the show. But like your conversion to Christianity, your
That motherfucker was fucking angry just being on
conversion for
this
this MAGA
fucking...
adjacent questioning institution stuff feels a little convenient to me at times, and I want to understand it better. Like I want to try to give
convenient. What he means is fake, performative bullshit.
Be the benefit of the doubt, but obviously, like there's credible accusations. You sort of referred to them before. I saw you talk about them with Piers Morgan. I saw you talk about them with Megyn Kelly. I know that you deny them, but they're credible. There's investigations. There's trials that are going on. There's stuff happening here in the States.
Yeah, it's funny that you found Jesus right when you got when the number of like sexual assault allegations went past the when they officially doubled from 4 to 8. I think was the thing.
It feels to me like from sitting from the outside of it, and you know your heart better than I do. Okay, your relationship with God is...
Does he know?
Between you and God, you know the truth. I don't. I'm not going to pretend like I do. But
it looks like what does it look like? It looks like
Shit in your Cheerio. Shit in your Cheerio.
Boy, do we. But you know your heart better than anyone.
It feels to me performative. And you see that all throughout this MAGA ecosystem. Do you understand my skepticism in this? I'm not trying to make a personal attack at you.
Go ahead. I am. I call bullshit.
How dare you?
I think he's
How dare you? Look at it. Look, how dare you?
Do you see why?
No, I don't understand why you're not buying the
What
bullshit.
skepticism means.
Yes, it's, I'm not wrestling with a dictionary, I can understand consonants and vowels, but I don't understand when it's used against me. I thought skepticism was something you externalized. And
I'm on the wrong fucking
podcast.
podcast.
By
They're not
using
blowing
the
smoke
Jesus
up my
shield.
fucking ass.
I understand what the word cynicism means. I understand what hubris looks like.
Oh, shots fired.
Look in the fucking mirror.
I, in a sense and way, Mike, I'm at a point where
I don't care. Right.
of abstract pontification and kind of grandstanding and listing stuff and the skepticism and cynicism.
Edit. And there was a clip edit there, I think. They went from the full live stream, whatever it was, and they snipped something out.
Kind of grandstanding and listing stuff and the skepticism and...
See that? Yeah. Either the guest said something, or his editor in chart cut out what he said because it didn't help make the case.
It is applied to individuals, and you've certainly applied it to me.
Fuck you. No. You don't get to turn his skepticism into cynicism. This is not a blanket condemnation of the newly converted. You fucking asshole. Oh my God.
Then you should look to your own Christianity.
Oh yeah. Pull out the log in your eye before you start fucking around with the toothpick in mine, you jerk.
To the teachings of Christ. The teachings of...
It's like you even know them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I've got the Bible verse right here.
That motherfucker teaches Christ better than fucking most of y'all. Bet he does. Bet he knows how to perform the rituals. I bet he knows how to mix the drugs. I bet he knows the amount of blood that's needed. Well, I bet he knows all that. And y'all want aware that y'all are practicing the Luciferian religion dressed up as a fucking whore, did you? Oh, still not aware. even if Christians took the Bible for what it states in English, y'all motherfuckers going to hell. Ain't no once saved, always. There's so much in there as far as what God commands. Y'all don't follow. You not aware that the majority of the Bible is based on contract, commerce, what not to do, and how to operate, usury alone. Yeah. So if you've ever taken out a loan with any interest rate above zero, well, you would just went against your own God's word. He tell you not to. Make several references about the scribes, the attorneys, those fucking deceptive little snakes that like to twist fucking words, the meaning of words. How many people get wrapped up and let themselves be represented by an attorney, a liar? People don't understand about those kind of things because start to look a little hypocritical. You know, when I was reading the Old Testament, what really shocked me was there are rules for the slavery. Sure is. Like, yeah, that got me to ask myself, well, if God has rules in him, is supportive of slavery, no God mind. Fuck that God. What I say. Fuck that God. Slaughter the men, the women, and well, you keep the youngest boy or the youngest girls, but even the children weren't even safe. The boys had to go, but the girls, they were unwed, or I don't know exactly how they put it, but almost put me in mind, like it was talking about prepubescent children could be taken. Fuck that God. So, who's being a hypocrite here? Russell for practicing the true mysteries of Christianity, or you for perverting them? We're both up Shit's Creek, ain't we?
I left it here somewhere.
I looked good. Maybe it was Blessed of the Cheese Man. I know it's in here somewhere.
Were you quote?
You mind if I
go ahead, please?
Hold on.
I didn't make it that far. I didn't know that was coming.
Got my own Bible right here.
I got several.
Look up the. Let's see. We're gonna go to Psalms. Let's go to Psalms 112. Yeah, there we go.
You have a what? What was it? You got? I'm thinking that is that a Catholic?
Yeah.
What edition you got here?
Back
it up. Back it up.
This is not a blanket condemnation of the newly converted. You fucking asshole! Oh my God!
All right.
Then you should look to your
right here.
Man, you mind if I?
Yeah, like I said, go ahead. Let me see. Let's see what version you have here.
got my
Oh,
own
you have Mason's Bible. Oh, I've got one of them too.
little Bible right here. Look up the, let's see, where we go, Psalms. Let's go to Psalms 112. Yeah, there we go. 113, 111, 112. Here we go. Boy, it's not too hard. Is it? I don't even have my bookmark's way in the back. And yes, I have a Joker card as my bookmark in Revelations, but that's because I don't think the Bible should have included that book, because it was a bunch of apocryphal, prophetic horseshit. And it certainly didn't belong in the New Testament. It should have been thrown at the end of the Old Testament. Where? All right. I won't read the whole thing, but this would do. Surely he shall not be moved, for even the righteous shall be in everlasting remembrance. He shall not be afraid of evil tidings. His heart is fixed, trusting in the Lord. His heart is established, and he shall not be afraid until he sees his desire upon the enemies. He hath dispersed, he hath given to the poor, his righteousness endureth, for even for his horn shall be exalted with honor. The wicked shall see it, and be grieved. He shall gnash with his teeth, and melt away the desire of the wicked. Shall perish. So he's going to scare off the good guy, going to make the bad guy feel like shit. Let's just call it there. Going to make the wicked gnash their teeth. Now I want you to look at the true believer. Now I want you to look at young Rusty Trombone here when he starts pushing back at this guy a bit. If you don't see what you want to see what gnashing of teeth is. Yeah.
And you've certainly applied it to me.
So it says all you need from the Bible is Matthew 3:25. Is that the no man shall know the hour nor the day? No.
Then you should look to your own Christianity.
You should look to your own Christianity.
To the teachings of Christ.
To the teachings of Christ.
The teachings of St. Paul. He has a lot to say about hypocrisy. He has a lot to say about followers of Christ, and that even if people are casting out demons in his name and they're insincere, still the work's getting done. Now, the tragedy for me is what's accessible to you and I in Scripture is a profound truth of a revolution that's kind of already taken place, that requires, as he says so many times, only faith, only a mustard seed of faith, only...
Oh, fuck you, no. No. The purpose of the mustard seed, that analogy is because faith exists or it does not. The first drop of faith is a recognition of the ocean and the skies being full of water as clouds and dew upon the morning leaf and all that kind of shit. Just the opening of it. It doesn't mean you can have a mustard seed of it that you tell people you have. You can pretend to have a little bit of faith. What a shithead. Oh my God.
Mustard seed of faith is all that's required of us to be participants in his kingdom. My assumption...
No, that's not the point of that verse. Only a mustard seed. I don't really have to believe all of it. I just believe a little of it. If I have faith that this will get me out of pork, for example, I don't have to... Fuck you.
Is that you're coming on here because you'll think like, oh, at least people, like, you can like righteously claim I'm reaching an audience that I wouldn't have.
Established a niche thing. Prophetic horseshit. 113, 111, 112. Here we go.
111, 112.
Boy, it's not too hard. Is it? I don't even have my bookmark's way in the back. And yes, I have a Joker card as my bookmark in Revelations, but that's because I don't think the Bible should have included that book because it was a bunch of apocryphal, prophetic horseshit. And it certainly didn't belong in the New Testament. It should have been thrown at the end of the Old Testament where it was...
Well, the
All right.
righteous shall be in his house and his life.
The,
Righteous.
I won't read the whole thing.
But
But this would be surely he shall not be moved, for even the righteous shall be in everlasting remembrance. He shall not be afraid of evil tidings. His heart is fixed, trusting in the Lord. His heart is established, and he shall not be afraid until he sees.
back up.
Blessed are the
'cause what are you
cheese.
reading?
I know it's in here somewhere.
The teachings of
It's like you even know them. Mm-hmm. I've got the Bible verse right here. I know it. I left it here somewhere. Oh, look good. Maybe it was blessed are the
Blessed is
cheese.
man.
I know it's in here somewhere.
But delight greatly in his commandments.
You
His seed
mind if
shall be
I?
mighty upon the earth, the generation of righteous shall be
Hold
blessed.
on.
The wealth and riches shall be in his house, his righteousness and grow forever. And to upright, the rise of the light and dark.
Got my own Bible right here.
Compassion, righteousness.
Look up the,
and
Let's see. We'll go to Psalms. Let's go to Psalms 112. Yeah.
Psalms 112. What verse you want?
113, 111, 112. Here we go. Boy, it's not too hard, is it? I don't even have my bookmarks way in the back. And yes, I have a Joker card as my
tidings, his heart fixed, trust
bookmark
Lord,
in
his heart
Revelations.
established.
But that's because I don't think the Bible should have included that book because it was a bunch of apocryphal, prophetic horseshit. And it certainly didn't belong in the New Testament. It should have been thrown at the end of the Old Testament. All right. The I won't read the whole thing, but this would be surely he shall not be moved, for even the righteous shall be in everlasting remembrance. He shall not be afraid of evil tidings. His heart is fixed, trusting in the Lord. His heart is established, and he shall not be afraid until he sees his desire upon the enemies. He hath dispersed, he hath given to the poor, his righteousness endureth, for even for his horn shall be exalted with honor. The wicked shall see it, and be grieved. He shall gnash with his teeth, and melt away the desire of the wicked. Shall perish. So there, he's going to scare off the good guy, going to make the bad guy feel like shit. Let's just call it there.
Well,
Going to make the wicked gnash their teeth.
yeah, that's
Now I want you to
verse 10.
look the true believer. Now I want you to look at young Rusty Trombone here when he starts pushing back at this guy a bit. If you don't see you want to see what gnashing of teeth is. Yeah.
and you've certainly applied it to me.
So it says all you need from the Bible is Matthew 3:25. Is that the no man shall know the hour nor the day? No.
Then you should look to your own Christianity,
You should look to your own Christianity.
to the teachings of Christ,
Oh, he's to the teachings of Christ.
the teachings of St. Paul. He has a lot to say about hypocrisy. He has a lot to say about followers of Christ, and that
there is no
even if people are casting out demons in his name and they're insincere, still the work's getting done. Now, the tragedy for me is what's accessible to you and I in Scripture is a profound truth of a revolution that's kind of already taken place, that requires, as he says so many times, only faith, only a mustard seed of faith, only...
Oh, fuck you. No. The purpose of the mustard seed, that analogy is because faith exists or it does not. The first drop of faith is a recognition of the ocean and the skies being full of water as clouds and dew upon the morning leaf and all that kind of shit. just the opening of it. It doesn't mean you can have a mustard seed of it that you tell people you have. You could pretend to have a little bit of faith. What a shithead. Oh my God.
Move your mama
to be
with a
participants in
mustard
his
seed of
kingdom.
faith.
My assumption.
No, that's not.
He's
That's
practicing
not
a
the
different
point of that
verse than you
verse.
are.
Only a mustard seed. I don't really have to believe all of it. I just believe a little of it. If I have faith that this will get me out of court, for
He's
example,
closer to the
I don't have to fuck
the satanic
you.
Is that you're coming on here because you'll think like, oh, at least people, like you can like righteously claim I'm reaching an audience that I wouldn't otherwise reach, and maybe to grant you a glimpse at my own skepticism, it seems when I see you refer to notes that you're looking at your own clips and you're looking at the
the new age.
You, man.
Groovy,
you just do this for the fame of it. Project much?
If I may,
I'm taking notes about
No, you may not.
the things that you say.
I appreciate that. Or the screen.
If you're going to accuse me of something, I want to be super clear about what I'm doing. I have a notepad right here.
It is very, very, and you have a laptop open as well. And it's also significant and important to ensure, with all accusations, to remember one of the primary terms for the fallen one, the accuser, the doubt.
Oh, shit. He's not just being unchristian by calling Russell out, but the devil is the accuser. So his victims are of the devil. The courts are courts of Satan. Anybody who believes his accusers have had their hearts hardened by the evil one. Fuck you.
The enemy, and he engages with all of us similarly. None of us can turn up haughty and supercilious, Mike, and deal with one another. No one gets to talk down to someone on the basis of assumption. No one gets to declare
no, he's not doing it on the basis of assumption. You're assuming that because you say these words that everybody assumes you mean these words, and anybody who's a skeptic about you is a cynic and has been manipulated by Satan. Jesus Christ.
Sort of like somewhat piously, and if I may say pharisaically, like I'm somewhat skeptical. You're just a guy who's going to die. I'm a guy that's going to die. You've got your beliefs, I've got mine. You've got some stuff you like saying, some stuff you like doing, some...
Oh my God. Look at this dude. Just like, really? Really?
Yeah.
All right. If you ever were on the fence about Rusty Trombone being a complete fucking phony when it comes to his Christianity, and you're, giving him the benefit of the doubt that he's doing it, that he's not doing it just to use it in court like some dude who's in front of a parole board going, I killed those people a long time ago and I found Jesus since. If you have even a mustard seed of belief that this asshole was, genuine, this should eliminate that. This should cleanse you of that demonic influence.
Tricks that have worked for you up to now.
Tricks that have worked for you, dude.
Pounds lost, a few dollars gained, and if we're not participating in the kingdom, my friend, we're participating in the empire. If like the sum total of this for you is a few Instagram followers and a few dollars more for Kamala Harris, I'd say that we've both significantly been robbed and shortchanged. So
I would like to say that there's hypocrisy based on the misreading or the intentional manipulation of scripture and the kind of classic spiritual dodging of responsibility by hiding yourself in pious mud, as our beloved friends in King's X would say. And then there's just gibberish, which is what that was.
How do I feel about your skepticism? I understand it, and I don't mind. I'm here recognizing that moment to moment,
Yeah, I don't mind. That's why, Well, anyways, I don't mind because that's how Jesus-y I am. I already said the stuff that you're a cynic and you're just doing it for clicks and follows and you're a liar and you have a plan and you're a Democrat who's trying to raise money for Kamala Harris by attacking me. I've always said that, but I don't care. I'm just
Surrendering to him.
That's
He-
crap.
fuck, man. You know what you should do? Surrender the LA Sheriff's Office.
You must become greater, I must become less. If part of that process is I listen to you for a minute before I go to my next interview, I do that. If part of it is I attend a trial because of, stuff that I'm, if I may sort of politely direct you in the right, towards the right territory, it's something I can't really talk about because I've been instructed that there would be consequences, so but so what am I saying? What's the point in having this conversation? Because precisely, actually, I'd like my audience to see how I speak to someone that's a Democrat.
Like a dismissive prick, you mean?
Hopefully they'll say with respect, with compassion, with consideration, with an open heart.
No, you don't get to use the words respect, compassion, say that you're doing it with an open heart when you clearly weren't. Those words don't clean up your behavior any more than saying you love Jesus makes you anywhere near the qualities that assumes.
We can learn to find some respect and good grace for one another, and that I think we'll know that by its fruits, my brother, because it won't sound like I got a healthy skepticism. It won't sound like
he's mocking him too. I'm not mocking you. I'm just using a silly voice to dismiss what you're saying.
Like that. It won't sound like performance. I ain't performing. I've earned a lot of money in my life for performing. A lot of money.
Yeah, but honestly, you were a TMZ character. It's not. You didn't earn it for acting.
And what I know now is the authenticity is the only currency we.
Well, like a pilot doesn't do it.
Authenticity?
Money. And what I know now is the authenticity is the only currency we have. So if you talk to people and they're very honest.
The authenticity.
It's about their brokenness, their flaws, their addiction, the mistake.
The rapes they may or may not have committed.
They've made, they're probably telling the truth. They're not going to be perfect in the same way you're not perfect.
Oh, that's what you gotta love that. The retreat to perfection argument. Look, nobody's perfect, dude. We're not arguing perfect. We're just talking about what a liar you are. This isn't about a perfect truth and both of us falling short over the span of our lives. It's the acute bullshit you're doing right now.
But when anybody sort of seems sort of slick.
Oh, look at that. Seems sort of slick. You can't just stick to the Jesus-iness. You just stop fucking talking.
Polished. For me, even prepared slightly appalls me because
that he showed up prepared to talk to you.
Of his spontaneity. I may not yet have the maturity I need, but I have the spontaneity that he's modeled for me.
And what happens is spontaneously I'll put the ad up for my Jesus book right in the middle of a rant that proves that it's all a show. It's all flim-flam.
You, mate, I ain't joking when I say that any of us that are willing to sort of garnish and garner the assume the good intentions of the side we're affiliated with and condemn as malfeasance the failings of our opponents, we are not loving our enemy. We are not loving our... No. Unconditional love does not mean unconditional like. And nobody is responsible for sweeping out your fucking stable if you want to stand in fucking manure. No. You can love another human being and point out that they are criminal, evil, dark, possessed by Satan, whatever you want to phrase it in religious terms, or just a prick. That part of it, I don't have to interact with you to wish that you find
forgiveness, love, and light in your life in some sort of universal sense, you asshole.
Enemy, love your enemy.
Yes, enough to tell him when he's wrong.
So it should be like, oh my god, I hate that person, I don't trust them.
Whoop, that's see? Distrust and hate are not the same thing.
Neither is love. You understand
And
how
the fact that he's trying to
you really
attach
wanna be in
hate
love when-
to distrust is another dodge. It's another shield.
We'll know how you.
If somebody doesn't trust you, that doesn't mean that they hate you. Now, someone you hate, you might automatically not trust. Or you might hate somebody, but you trust them to do their job. That's ironic, but true. It can happen. They're both not mutually exclusive, nor do they coincide, nor do they crisscross at any kind of meaningful point. What he's trying to do, though, is say, if you distrust me, you hate me, and if you hate me, you're not a Christian, because Christians don't hate, and I fucking hate that.
I've got.
What an asshat.
I love him. I'm gonna love him. My book is out. Now there's a link.
This motherfucker cuts him off before he answers. This is his clip. How to become a Christian in 7 days. Yeah, it seems like you rushed it. Ugh. What a fucking prick. Ew. By the way, hit the like, share the show. Somebody send that clip to Russell, because I'd love to talk to him as well. Although I will, if he ever had me on, I would post the entirety of the conversation on my own channel. That would be stipulated as a rule, that if I went on his show and talked to him, that we would have to. I have no interest in doing it, by the way, because he's gross. There are plenty of other people to talk to that don't have 8 rape charges, that you can have the same material conversation, true or false. They exist. There's no need. But were it to happen, what you do is, and my advice to anybody who might go on that show is, insist that you have a copy of the entire interview, or live stream it yourself to, or download it to your hard drive and keep it there. Because holy hell, gross. Ugh. Mike Nels, get Mike Nels to tell you about this farce. Yeah, I'd love to. We could have him on the show. Because the fact that he cuts him off, he cuts out 3 of his answers, it's clear, in that clip. And then he cuts him off at the end. Fucking hell. Ew.
We better all try to make a mold before that into first. Decent. rectangular mold and fill it in. Might be able to make a couple buttons out of it like that.
So this is what it's come to. All of our hard-earned taxpayer dollars at work. Check it out.
We should fuck y'all there.
Just got a $1,250 ticket in the mail for having my phone on my lap, face down, and both hands on the steering wheel. Pretty cool.
So I texted people that I installed this little mini data mining center here. And I told them, I was like, you know what, I'm going to change my mind on this. And they're like, absolutely not. You change your mind, it's over. And so a lot of people want to know how this is powered. So they ran a cord, like a thick cord. It was like this thick.
The $1,000 a month they're paying you, paying your power bill?
Miles north to punch into the grid, a power line or whatever they did. But this is mining all sorts of data right now. And I mean, I'm having people, it's, I can't get into that, but it's wild. And
Bitch about the
each one of these are basically store the data. So this could store, like, they said like 1 million years worth of data from just one person. So
let me know where you live. Might steal a deal.
I'm regretting it because they're constantly coming.
Did you realize that this TV right here is a Walmart tracking device to track you at home? Walmart bought Vizio Television. When they did that, they acquired millions of people's data. And more importantly than just the TV itself, they acquired the data system. They bought SmartCast and the data advertising platform that was owned by Vizio. So here's how it works. You pay $598 for the TV, you get it home, you unbox it, you plug it in, and you realize you can't operate it without a Walmart account. Actually, it says right here that a Vizio account is required for smart TV. And that's more than deceptive labeling, that's a straight up lie. You'll be immediately redirected to set up a Walmart account. And here's the sinister part, like I said before, it wasn't about buying the physical TVs, it was about buying SmartCast. Any Vizio televisions that have been manufactured in 2026 require a Walmart account. And look at the deceptive pricing scheme. $238 for the TCL 50-inch and $178 for the Vizio. SmartCast is the operating system that lives inside the TV. It runs all your apps like Netflix and YouTube. It controls your home screen. And most importantly, the ad data system. What it does is detect what you're watching either from cable boxes, game consoles, or DVDs, and your cell phone connected to the Walmart app. Now they will tie in with you and your family, watch, search, and buy to relentlessly market you into their store. Even more Orwellian than that, linking your TV to your purchases to your location. Now you are a probable target for personal product pricing adjustments set according to your needs or desperation. This is called dynamic pricing, based on your personal data. And the fact that a giant corporation like Walmart has laid the foundation for a deceptive controlling system just like this should have us all outraged. Does it?
Look at this crazy shit.
All that motherfucker full fucking chapas.
Hold on. Hold on. Keep on watching. Keep on watching.
Yeah, these die-cast fucking parts like it all day long.
Let's go back to it. Go ahead and pull that one out of there. Oh my god. Brand new part.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that.
Oh my god.
That didn't even get rinsed out.
Good thing we looked before we put it on.
Yeah.
As a naturopath, I cannot believe
that drill.
Believe what I'm about to say.
Supposed to have liquid going through it.
But wear bug spray outdoors. Years ago, I would have told you to focus only on natural prevention, essential oils, garlic, herbs, immune support, and yes, those things still matter. We are no longer dealing with the same environment that we grew up in. The number of people I'm seeing with Lyme disease,
you just pull that fucking
Bartonella, babesia, alpha-gal, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, chronic neurological infections, reactions, the histamines, severe histamine reactions. This is all exploding, and it's all been recent. These infections are not
get 'em
easy to
cast,
reverse once they
stamp 'em out.
get deep into the tissues, nervous
They go
system,
into the
joints,
drill,
collagen,
shipped
brain,
out,
and your immune
throw the
system.
crate, go.
We can detox the chemicals from the bug spray, but undoing years of chronic infection damage is way harder. People online are talking nonstop about these weaponized ticks, genetic manipulation, and engineered pathogens. Whether every theory is true or not, one thing is undeniable. People are getting sicker. Ticks are carrying way more infections, and chronic illness is skyrocketing. I've spent years encouraging people to reconnect with nature, sunlight, grounding, clean food, and natural living. I still believe in all of that, but I also believe wisdom means adapting to the battlefield.
You ain't got to
we're
wear
actually
bug
standing
spray, you
on,
dumbass.
not the one
There's
that
plenty of
we wish
things out there
existed.
you can put on you
This isn't fear,
to keep
this
bugs
is
out from
awareness.
you.
Protect your children, protect
Okay,
your nervous system, and
roll
protect your
some
immune system.
peppermint
Wear
and
the bug
other
spray.
fucking.
Check for ticks, support your detox pathways, support your
They don't like,
mitochondria, and stop pretending chronic infections
garlic
and self-infections are not real, or that they're rare, because they are not anymore.
Have you heard what's going on at the DMV?
Fuck you, eat enough garlic. Tick ain't gonna fucking bite your ass.
And leaving people without a job. Poor guy is he's a security guard and he's having to give instructions. Now to get help at the DMV, you have to scan this code and get a number. There is no longer people working at the front desk giving orientation to people. If you could see, it's a security guard, poor guy, having to give people instructions. He's not even paid for that. This poor guy is not getting paid for giving instructions. He's a security guard. Now it's machines helping us scan this and give your opinion. I just got someone mad at me for recording this video.
I just went to the drive-thru and I give the lady my card and I'm like, here you go. Nothing, which is fine. Gives me back my card. Thank you. Hands me my food. Thank you. Have a good day. Not a word. Like, she did not speak a word. And this happens to me every single time that I, like, go through the drive-thru or I'm in the checkout line at a store. And it's only around people my age. Why are we so weird? Guys, why are we weird? Why are we acting like it's our first day on Earth? I don't know why this bothers me so much, but why is it that only our age group from like 19 to 23, 24, why do y'all not know how to speak? It really drives me crazy. And I don't love small talk, but like I like to talk to like show appreciation for whatever the other person is doing for me. Even if it's something small or like in their job description, of course they're gonna do it. But like, I'm sorry that I care a little bit, and then whenever I actually make a side conversation, people look at me like I am insane. Like I'm clinically insane. Like, why are you speaking to me right now? And it, oh my gosh, it upsets me. I don't know if it's because like I work in healthcare and like I'm just used to having side conversations and small talk and, you know, having like the social skills in that area. But guys, you 18 to like 24-year-olds, we need to do better because our brains act fried. Like we genuinely act like this is our first day on Earth.
Alright, Dad. It is called the kill switch. Yep. And everybody seems to be talking about it.
It's a big uproar right now.
Yeah.
And it kind of needs to be honest with you. For those of you that don't know what it is, if you haven't heard, I mean, you know, it was a bill that was passed into law, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, passed in law in 2021. The section that we're really concerned about is section 24220, which is the Advanced Impaired Driving Prevention Technology. Whew, that's a mouthful.
Mr. B.
Let me give you the crux of what it is. The vehicle itself is going to monitor the driver passively, so not going to connect anything to you. Going to monitor the driver to be sure that you're not impaired, that you're safe to drive the vehicle. It's also going to monitor your driving habits, you know, what you're doing right now. And this is real. This is not something that potentially could happen. This is happening. 100%. It's a law. I guess they're
brand new car.
My body after 2 years of wearing them, and now I don't think I own a single piece of clothing that doesn't look like it's falling apart after like 5 months.
Has anybody else paid attention to the monthly withdrawal limits that your
Look,
bank imposes.
the slaves made my clothes.
Many
They
banks
made my
impose,
car.
maybe not your bank, but check and see if
How
it
good
does.
I am.
Because I just I got the fine print from one of my banks and I read through it, and there's a max monthly withdrawal limit of $6,000. So that means you
Now
never
go
want to
home,
put more than
read your
$6,000
mortgage
in
agreement.
that account, because when you want to pull it out, it's going to take you more than a month to get your money. It's really not your money.
No, that's in a...
Once you put it in the bank, it's the bank's money, and they'll tell you when you can have it back.
I am currently standing in front of a flock camera. Now, if you're unfamiliar with these flock cameras, they are AI-driven tracking devices, and their entire purpose
Business
for
or
existing
home?
is to log as much information as they can about you and your vehicle. Things like the color, the make, the model,
The
license
location.
plate,
They just want to make
where
sure
you're
you ain't
at.
coming out to them.
Maybe some people are missing the point whenever it comes to these data, right? Regardless of how much power you're going to be using, regardless of how much water consumption is going to happen, regardless of the health effects or the effects,
Is located to see who's standing next to them by reading their irises.
Sleep, and it uses radio signals to detect which part of your sleep. Here's the camera.
Baby shake.
The oldest documented industrial.
Yeah. Oh, why did he close these earlier?
I feel sometimes like, how did I get in this position? I know you do too. Like, where you're at the White House, you're just like, how the could somebody like me earn this opportunity? Right. I know, like for me, I know they've used me there before. They invited me there for Veterans Day, and I said no, I'm not going because I don't fucking agree with this war in Iran. I don't.
Son of a bitch.
Hello, friends. 1 week ago, about 24 armed federal agents raided my house on a search warrant connected to suspected tax issues. They brought my family outside at gunpoint and refused for some time to tell us why they were there. Then they took hours to search through pretty much every square inch of our home while interrogating us. I know a lot of you must be curious to know why they would have done something like this. The truth is, I still don't really know. Now, I'm not at liberty to discuss the details of this case, and the feds wouldn't tell me anyway what their probable cause was. But I will say that my opinion is that this raid was astonishingly unnecessary, expensive, and dangerous. From their questions, it sure seems to me that it may have been the simple fact that they didn't believe a person would donate as much money to charity as I did during my high-earning years, and that is deeply disturbing to me. So what now? I've been informed that the feds will take weeks, months, or even years to comb through our files, emails, etc., everything they carried out of our house, everything they collected off of our electronic devices, and decide whether there's sufficient evidence to charge me with some crime that they think that they can convict me of. Now, I've often encouraged despondent friends by asserting that as long as we are still alive, there's still more good that we can do. The unfortunate corollary to this assertion is equally true. As long as we are still alive, there's still more evil that we can suffer. As many of you know, several years ago I lost everything I had worked for professionally to that point in my life by being canceled for my religious beliefs. And as difficult as you can imagine that to be, that was not nearly as bad as things can get. I knew that then, even as I understand that this situation is not as bad as things can get. And that's with a significant probability of an expensive legal battle, onerous charges, and devastating penalties. It's still not as bad as things can get. We really need to develop sufficient trust in God to weather the worst. So many of us live this life where we have this safety filter. We see all these things happening to other people, and we think, well, that'll never.
Oh, no. So, let me see what you're talking about. What did John say? No man to see God. Homeschool can be worse than public school. Captain America, so hard, confident together, so small, the three, better friendship, what you value most. You got nice things, very incredible. You don't know how it worked. Charity of gratitude. Huh. Okay. You've done something to piss somebody off. Multi-family housing. Yeah, they're not real like that. Would 6 and 20 and 13 minutes, 20 and 16. Stacking. You a big stacker? Cancel. Wait. 2012. So you've been on here for a while. When did you get canceled? 7 years. Well, what you got canceled at, but ain't none of these. No big old numbers.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Sean Elwood channel. I'm Ron Swanson. We're joined here by Kelly Hawley, and we're going to be delving into the Warrior Bride Ministries and her journey through some horrific stuff that we're not going to mention for the first couple of minutes of the live.
Looking like dead.
Yeah.
Yo, Britain just found a fucking bunker at Epstein's house. We'll go.
I'm going.
Jeffrey Epstein. Hell no. What are those rooms about?
We're about to call 911.
It's on. Yeah.
Alright, y'all know. Shit.
We gotta go right over that.
If people catch you here, you're fucked.
2 characters on plates, and they're saying little things in French.
Oh.
Channel 16, which the Coast Guard will hear you say this.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be marked.
Part of me didn't even want to go.
Wait, because I feel like our time here is running short. What do y'all think?
Oh, that's tough. You'll be able to see that from far away, for sure.
You could even just tape it straight on the wall.
Should we?
I think that might be better.
After weighing our options, we decided hanging out from the tree would give it the most visibility.
Clickbait,
Eventually people are going to say, what the hell is going on?
I don't know. I think they're brothers.
Before you go into the dark, when you flip, you go exactly the same place.
Brothers from different mothers.
Everything. Because everything is in balance. Everything's a polarity.
I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird.
Both they'll live in the same city.
Weird it is.
We made it. What the hell is going on, people? Thank you for being here. It is Weird Week, where we are about to recap all of the strangeness that's been happening this week, with a big focus on Palm Beach Pete. And I am your host, Vietnam Vinny. Okay, a lot of you guys are saying Josh is late in the chat. I don't know who Josh is. I'm Vietnam Vinny. I might look like him, I dress like him, I sound like him, I'm in the same places as Polarity Josh, but I'm obviously Vietnam Vinny. Okay, so I'm going to be hosting the show today, and before we get into the main segment, which is the enigma of Palm Beach Pete, we have a little leading story here that I want to show you guys, because most of the show will be about Palm Beach Pete, but there has been a few other things happening this week, so we're going to lead off with that first. Let's jump over here, and if you guys see this, you probably know what I'm talking about, but let me...
No, I can't see it, because you fucking blurred it out. You know, that's the way you're gonna do shit. Fuck you. We'll put that there.
19. The following post was made on 4chan. Don't ask me how I know, but Epstein died an hour ago from hanging. Cardiac arrest. Screen cap this. That post on 4chan is the first post publicly announcing the death of Jeffrey Epstein.
Alright, that's
Because this time, we're tackling one of the biggest current mysteries of our time, Epstein's supposed death. And there's one incident tied to it that few have talked about, an incident that may have put everything in motion. It all started with just a few words and an image. On Saturday, August 10th, 2019, at 8:16 a.m., a post goes up on 4chan, accompanied by a picture of what looks to be Pepe the Frog dressed as a king. It reads, "Don't ask me how I know, but Epstein died an hour ago from cardiac arrest. Screen cap this." Meanwhile, there had been no news of Epstein taking his own life in the media. In fact, many didn't believe this person was being genuine. "Fake," one user responded. Epinephrine is adrenaline, a typical drug used when the heart has stopped beating. What's Epstein's death? One was from the Watch Control Center officer, who received the call for medical assistance and then called 911. Another statement was from the operations lieutenant, simply stating they arrived to see CPR being performed, and they assisted in transporting Epstein. There was an officer who got the stretcher and a second defibrillator, likely because first aid training says to always have a backup. This is one statement from a staff member inside the Sun. They claimed the missing minute was a mistake made during the trimming process.
No, I'll... I am fucking recording still. I don't know what the fuck I'm fucking do, but I gotta piss. I'm gonna give me some drinks. What are you doing? What are you looking for? What is that? Oh, is that a rubber finger thing? I don't know what that's for. I think it's paint fingernails or something. I don't know. Got holes on that end. Yeah. Put your fingernail through there. I don't know where that come from.
The first video comes from a babysitter. The girl he is babysitting is playing with her toys, and out of nowhere, she tells him that she has a doll that moves by itself when she plays hide and seek.
Bastard.
You said it moves?
Wait a minute. There's something in this deal there.
That doll? This doll? Like you move it, or? Wait, what? When does it move? When you play hide and seek?
Alright, I've still got a bunch of shit up here. Dialog. Yeah, this was sent to Jeffrey from, well, that's departmentjustice.gov. Oh, I know what I wanted to get.
He should be the only one inside the building.
Up. Stop.
She
Stop. Come here. Yeah. Kind of along the lines where I was wanting to go. Hold up. Oh my goddamn stomach. What the fuck? Ago. Atomic particle physics. It's 2 hours. I don't know, Sophie Brain. So why is that here paid out? Like, who the fuck are you, Lego? I don't give a fuck about no Legos either. Ukraine, you're full of shit. Don't recommend. This is fucking AI. Oh, I know. I've seen some of your videos. Okay. Queef Master. Queef Master? What happened to Queef Master? No. He got taken by some lights. Oh. But what? Who doesn't want me to see what? Penguin. eBay. Don't. Well, hell no, I wouldn't. Get the fuck off here. Might be a little funny. I don't fucking like Pokemon either, so why the fuck are y'all? Nope. Best no. No. Yeah, no shit. 2 months ago. There you go. 10 minutes. I might be able to sit there 10 minutes. I don't give a fuck about none of this shit here. again, they're I don't even know this shit anyway. Alright, hold up. Cause, what's that? Where's that fucker at?
What you just said is all likely, with the exception of what we're all focused on.
Video. I don't know, is it? Yeah, oh, the hell.
Everyone thinks that the Epstein files is about exposing powerful people.
I don't know if
highlight
anybody
the
thinks
possibility
that.
I don't hear anybody talking about something that I learned when I was
think,
in service at
you just
CIA. Sometimes when you make a public release of information,
Fucking
it's
made a
not about the
big
information
presumption
at
that you
all.
came back
It's
up.
about watching to see who takes the most interest in that information. And something interesting
That's like
happened
dirt
after
shit.
the Department of Justice dropped millions of Epstein files all at once. Investigators actually discovered that the Department of Justice itself was tracking who was accessing those files through the public database, even members of Congress. That means the Department of Justice is collecting intelligence through the Epstein files.
Yeah, they're
not
doing
just
that's
in the
their
Epstein
job.
files.
Who do you
And they're
think
taking
they
an
work
interest in the
for?
people who are the most interested in the Epstein case, and that could possibly even include
But we're
you.
listening to a
My
guy
name is Andrew.
that will do anything to survive. Survival is most important to this fucker here. Boy, I see it ain't nothing to survive. I don't give a fuck. I got nothing fucking to gain, nothing to fucking lose here. My real home, I don't fucking remember it. Don't remember my real home. But I know it ain't here.
Andrew Bustamante, and I'm a former CIA intelligence officer, New York Times best-selling author, and viral internet voice. I spent 7 years operating around the world with CIA's National Clandestine Service, and now I teach spy skills that break barriers to help you unlock most powerful players still connected to Jeffrey Epstein. The intelligence term for this is called digital elicitation. Elicitation is a skill that you use anytime you want to indirectly ultimately lead them into a place where they admit that perhaps they've traveled near a place like Iran, or perhaps they served in the military in the foreign field. Now all of a sudden you're getting sensitive information indirectly in a way that the target may not even realize you're collecting it. And there's many different ways to use elicitation. Some people use elicitation. With digital elicitation, you're asking the right question. And I would break those into call the casuals. Sometimes it's just as important to understand who isn't interested in something as it is to understand they would take the time to actually log in.
Yeah, more people interested, they're gonna have to fake something. They're gonna have to fake one after. But because nobody fucking gives a shit, they've not bothered going. That's why this ain't gone nowhere, because people don't give a fuck. They either part of it or don't care. They don't fucking believe it. It's more convenient not to believe it. Or they're part of it There's several fucking reasons. Ain't nobody all in one boat. It ain't always everybody's this or everybody's that. There's a mixture of fucking who's doing what.
Into the free database and dig around. They'll be able to compare the activity of curious people based on media events that are related to the Epstein case. Meaning, if there's a big Epstein news story, there might be a spike in curious people. But just 2 or 3 days later, that spike goes away. This is important to the Department of Justice because it lets them understand how much even curious people honestly care about justice. And if there's only a small population of curious people who take an interest, and a large population of casual people who take no interest, then that allows the Department of Justice to assess how much risk they really have in the future by holding back more files. The third group of people is a group that I call the concerned. The concerned are those people who are directly tied to the Epstein case in some way, shape, or form, whether they're victims, attorneys of victims, congresspeople who are folded in, wealthy people who are folded in, people who have a genuine reason to be concerned about what's inside those files. And when the Department of Justice is looking at their database to understand the behavior of those who are concerned, they're looking for people who focus in on just one area of the file, one set of keywords, one topic area, one period of time, and they watch to see how long those people linger on a web page, which suggests that that person is reading that web page. They're also collecting metadata to see whether or not people are taking screenshots of that page, or whether they're downloading anything from who are systematically going through the public database. People who are actually showing professional investigative behaviors, leaving metadata trails that demonstrate that they're actually cross-referencing, recording, and saving the information that they come across. They may also see signs of digital tradecraft, which is a way of trying to hide what you're really interested in. So maybe some of these case builders are actually looking at information that's completely separate from the case they're trying to build because they're trying to throw investigators off the scent. And when you come across the trail of somebody who's trying to use tradecraft, you know exactly who to prioritize in your own counter-investigation. Because while some case builders might be attorneys or investigative journalists, other case builders might be foreign intelligence services, or might be foreign leaders working through some sort of cutout to dig into exactly how much they're exposed in the Epstein files. So when you're the Department of Justice and you're trying to identify which leads are the most relevant and impactful to the Epstein case, it's much more difficult to try to go through millions of files yourself than it is to build an algorithm that tells you about the people who are surfing the site that you built. And that's exactly why digital elicitation works, because it allows you to create an indirect pathway to collect sensitive information on the individuals who show the most professional, most intentional, most deliberate research methodologies against a public-facing database. You are going to keep hearing the name Jeffrey Epstein, and you are going to keep seeing news stories about the Epstein files. But I don't want you to get distracted thinking that people are trying to find intelligence inside the files themselves. I want you to look at this whole thing as a form of digital elicitation, an operation to collect sensitive information based on the release of the files themselves, not the information that's actually contained inside the files.
Oh, whatever gets. The motherfuckers obsessed with fucking collected data would be collecting your data. Jesus Christ. Making a list, checking it twice, we'll find out who's naughty and nice. There's no way you don't know that these motherfuckers run that fucking system, that they run fucking intel. I don't fucking believe it for a minute that you are not aware who you're
Intelligence
working
tool that's
for.
been used for centuries, and it's a tool that will be used for centuries more because it's just that effective. Whether you're using it person to person, whether you're using it over social media, or whether you're using it through digital elicitation like we're seeing with the Epstein.
So your soul.
If you learned something new from me today, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that subscribe button right now.
Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and today I've shown you guys a little bit of a hack going on over here, ladies and gentlemen. What would you do if somebody broke into your computer and started using it for all sorts of illegal things? How would you even know, ladies and gentlemen? Well, today something massive happened. Actually, yesterday, a website was shut down. netnut.com. Now, jokes aside with the goofy name, you can see that there's a whole ensemble of characters here. You got Google, you got Lubin, you got the FBI, you've got the Internal Revenue Service. You know, there are supervillains in society that are scared of this badge right here. But basically, this was seized by the Federal Bureau in accordance with federal law, taken in coordination with the Department of Justice against the NetNut residential proxy platform. So you might be like, well, what the fuck is NetNut, Muda? Well, I'm going to walk you through the entire nerdiness right here. Now, NetNut, from what I understand, is an entire residential proxy service. So kind of think of it like this, right? Basically, how do a lot of those big AI slot models get all the information off the internet? How do they scrape things, right? Well, apparently they go through a lot of these services like NetNut, where again, if you're a big company that wants to get a bunch of data, if you're somebody that wants to grab a bunch of information, you build an account over here, you pay these guys an exorbitant amount of cash, and you get access to a whole bunch of information that is hidden behind residential proxies. So if you look at the amount of proxies that they have, they've got 2.3 million in the United States, over half a million in Canada, over 1 million in India, 500,000 in Russia, and so on and so forth. Now, residential proxy is somebody's home network that these people are apparently routing this information through. So how did this all kind of happen, ladies and gentlemen? How was NetNut exposed? So for, I would say, probably a few months to a year, organizations like Google were kind of jumping in over here and shutting down things like IP80. Also, they were shutting out botnets like Popa. So a botnet, for anybody that isn't understanding, let me walk you through it, right? Imagine this is your simple little Windows computer, right? You're opening up your little web browser, you're going on newgrounds.com, and you might be looking up something like Sonic Inflation. Now, you might think your computer is safe, but a filthy hacker has already breached in. Now, this is a Kali virtual machine, which I have set in a way to send a piece of malware over to a system, this victim. And you can see right over here, I'm not going to walk you through how I hacked it, but you can see that I opened up a shell on this computer. So while this guy is just minding his own business, I can pull up things like what this person's computer looks like. If I wanted to exactly pull up, what this person was looking at, like let's say they went to newgrounds.com over here. I don't know, I've been thinking of Newgrounds a lot, you get the idea. I can just hit the old screenshot button and actually get a screenshot of what this person's looking at. So you can see it saved it in my Kali folder. So I can actually open up my Kali system right here.
Narrow it down.
Go right over here. You can see that I've got the screenshot from the guy that I've hacked. Now, while this computer is doing effectively nothing, I can use that shell that I made over here to do commands like curl, to check the internet, to pull whatever information I want. Now, this is kind of a roundabout way to walk you through exactly what's kind of going on. Basically, the reason for that visual was to show you, there are people that could use your computer without you kind of knowing, unless you know how to audit your process tree, dump your memory, check everything going on. The issue here is not your individual computer being hacked, it's somebody being able to use your computer network or your home network through malicious applications, through malicious IP relays, and be able to route traffic that is basically happening without your consent. Without your consent is important here. It actually lied entirely on those cheapo handset devices that you're buying on the internet. So effectively, let's say you're somebody that, you want to watch some TV, right? Let's say you're somebody that also doesn't have a smart television. So you might be like, well, what's the cheapest way to get access to a smart TV where I can have different, live TV applications, Netflix, so on and so forth? You probably go online and look for Android TV boxes. And you could go to places like Amazon.com and find a whole range of them. Some of them could be in the $50, some could be $100. So the reality of it is, it turns out that these boxes could actually be used to basically run these botnets in your home without you knowing. So you buy these cheapo devices, and it turns out that they're connected to a void botnet, a large-scale malware campaign, which is basically with these unofficial Android-based boxes, right? So anytime somebody sells you something for cheap like this, usually there's a caveat, and the caveat is your home is, without your consent, turned into a residential proxy. So in this case, the FBI basically detected, and Google as well detected like hundreds of
Dialog.
people
Here we
using
are.
these residential proxies for nasty data.
Write the names.
And this is where you come into the story. In June 2026 alone, Google identified like 300 plus distinct threat clusters using the NetNut exit nodes. Who are the exit nodes? That's you, basically giving your IP to mask these criminals and espionage groups behind. These guys use NetNut to effectively mask their IP address when accessing victims' environments. Because here's the thing, much like accessing through a VPN, a lot of those things are known IP addresses. Now NetNut is obviously a company that is owned by Israel, and before I get the ADL bitching at me about, oh my god, are you promoting the anti-Semitism? No, I'm talking about Israel specifically, okay? I ain't making no jokes about your IP being promised 3,000 fucking years ago. No, the one of the realities is Israel has always been a very notorious country when it comes to, again, having access to spyware, having access to these sort of gray market firms that, you know, work with law enforcement agencies, but really the reality of it is that they do put a lot of journalists. You know, there are a lot of actual politicians that we put our, you know, faith into. A lot of people do end up being targets of some pretty nasty Israeli malware. To the point where obviously big tech companies in the United States call this shit out on a pretty regular basis. And when pushed too far, obviously this invokes the ire of like U.S. law enforcement. Now, of course, in this situation, Alarum is a company that is obviously traded on the market. They're a legitimate company. Unfortunately, in the, you know, things because remember, they're more like a traffic vendor than people selling like a botnet for illegal criminals. These criminals that are, I guess, using their NetNut, you know, residential proxy service are not people that are sanctioned. Remember, we are targeting people that are using their service in a non-consensual manner. There's a lot of people that do consent to NetNut. Unfortunately, which obviously the case here is we're targeting the non-consensual use of their network by cybercriminals. So the FBI is investigating whether this of a data collection firm, Alarum Technologies, who are basically the guys that own the NetNut stuff, had a role in linking customers' home internet devices without their consent into a network that people can use to disguise their location. It turns out that maybe the FBI, which was basically examining these links from NetNut, that Israeli-based subsidiary that sells access to the network, and software known as POPA, the actual like botnet software that was used. Basically, these devices were flashed with the stuff before they were fucking sold. So you buy the shit and you're thinking, oh man, I'm just gonna have a rootin' tootin' good time and watch Netflix, you know, on my smart TV now that, you know, I bought through this Android device. And in reality, you probably can watch Netflix, but the thing is, ultimately, at the end of the day, you are now part of a fucking insane botnet. And if you look into this botnet really carefully, you can see that ultimately, at the end of the day, this is contributing to the destruction of the internet. Just this one SEC filing from the guys over at Alarum showed that over the past year, Alarum went from a proxy-focused provider into the AI data platform. So basically, all these AI companies, when they're grabbing shit off the internet, and you can see that obviously they include things like their proxy network, website unblocker, search solutions. So if you're an AI company, you obviously want to go to these people, or anybody that wants to look legitimate on the internet, you go to these guys. You know, here's the thing, if you try accessing a lot of websites from an AI, it'll probably tell you like error 403, like, hey, we know you're a bot, fuck off. But then there's other alternatives and options that you can use, right? Like you could connect yourself through something like CamoFox, for instance, which is a anti-detection browser. So if I pair this with an AI running locally, I can browse the internet and basically scrape whatever I want without me, you know, triggering an anti-bot detection. So with a culmination of technologies, these people have website unblockers, search engine solutions, AI data sets. Basically, they're just a fucking massive data collection company. And I guess because they're headquartered in like Israel, which is basically the cyber mercenary solution of the world. You know, I'll be honest with you, the fucking problem with like, you know, anything cybersecurity related is like, you know, Israel's got a lot of fucking great talent, right? When it comes to like fucking, you know, just a lot of their cybersecurity solutions, like ultimately at the end of the day, are sought after by law enforcement agencies and governments all over the world, right? Of what? So, interestingly enough, the government of the United States that is actually working against this company in Israel You know, the same government was paying another Israeli company to be able to hack into people's like iPhones, right? I mean, this is like gray market. We will fucking kind of work for the highest bidder type solution, right? Now, I don't want to say anything out of pocket for something like Elerum. From what I understand, they're kind of shocked a little bit that this fucking happened. The day that this actually broke down, I shit you not, the stock price for Elerum like went to fucking shit. So, for instance, in the span of like 3 days, these motherfuckers dropped down 69%, okay? Like, imagine going all the way from here to here. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, they really were just kind of shocked that their domains were getting seized by the Federal Bureau, by the Internal Revenue Service. You know, Google's fucking pointing fingers, you know what I mean? It's crazy shit. You're talking about some of the biggest data collection companies in the world pointing fingers. It's like that Spider-Man meme. But at the end of the day, I think ultimately the most important part about this is how do you stay safe? And this is where, look, ultimately there's a few things you can do, like don't use shady applications you downloaded from unverified sources because they're usually bundled with these proxies. Stop using free VPN services. For instance, right over here, a great write-up by the fellows over at Deepfield, they kind of did talk a little bit about this, right? RoboVPN, for instance, is this commercial VPN from CyberKick Limited. Now, who the fuck owns CyberKick Limited? Well, let's look a little bit closer. Let's look at that. Alarm FAQ. It belongs to the same Israeli company, CyberKick. We're incorporated in Israel. Blanket security for customers against all forms of spooky viruses. But again, a write-up from these individuals, and again, Deepfield, showed that basically, at the end of the day, the site's download page advertises clients for everything, right? You can download it for whatever. Bundled in the same installer, registered as a NuGet dependency, and activated whenever the VPN is not connected, is Mutative, a residential proxy SDK that turns the user machine into an exit node for third-party traffic. When the VPN disconnects, or the app simply sits idle after login, the SDK waits 30 to 90 minutes, connects to a load balancer at this address, receives a list of relay servers on rotating front domains, and starts accepting tunnel requests that resolve arbitrary public host names through the user's connection. Relay always exits through the user's own residential IP. And the important aspect about it is, because they're routing through your IP address, it makes, like, for instance, if you're a website and you want to, like, block these scumbags, it makes it difficult because ultimately you're blocking, like, a real legitimate customer, right? You're blocking somebody that could just be a real human being. It makes identification really fucking difficult. And again, these are people that track DDoS bots, right? So effectively, they were looking into it because ultimately, at the end of the day, a vulnerable proxy SDK is itself an initial access vector. A customer who tunnels to a node's own reaches the exit device's ADB daemon and recruits it into whatever the operator is building. So how did the story kind of break this, like, rapid? Well, actually, it was brewing for about a year. So to give you an idea, this is a website known as RH.net. Now, RH.net seems like your standard journalism website, but basically, they were basically protected by the only company that could actually reverse engineer.
Maybe not. It's the last name.
For investigative journalism. Received this massive scraping event, targeting its library of investigations, actually 10,000 times higher than regular scraping traffic. So effectively, what they did was they weren't naming who actually did anything, but they reconstructed the methodology of how the scraping had occurred. And over here, they kind of started pointing the fingers towards NetNut, again, these Israeli companies, and they kind of
shit about this man
either what they were seeing over here. Okay. Now, about a month later, they started to talk about the OPA botnet, for instance, right? And this is where they started introducing things like your smart TV. So it wasn't just like a bunch of like these, you know, it was actually like several like really good write-ups by Nokia, by Symbian, by all these people that were basically pointing fingers at NetNut and how a lot of these like scrapers were hiding in people's like cheapo Android television boxes, right? Basically when they started looking and reverse engineering the Android applications that allowed things like that void malware to basically download and update itself, they were looking at all of this shit, right? They were going through the entire chain over here. And then, of course, further down the road, they started to link this botnet to the Israeli proxy provider NetNut.
So they started looking closer into a company, for instance, right? For example, over here, when they were looking at a client known as SmartCube, which, again, SmartCube really wasn't connected to it, like at all. Like, I don't believe that they were actually on it. But to give you an idea, according to the researchers, it was manipulated in some ways back in 2025 of November. And effectively, one specific version over here, right, 28.56. So basically, Popo ran undetected for about 5 months inside, some of these applications, legitimate-looking applications too. And the central lead in the report points to a guy called Mosh Yehuda Kramer, who registered this company called Ninja Tech in Riga in 2020. So this company was liquidated in 2022, but its domain continued to serve as a control server for Popo. According to Corium, Kramer is the SVP Research and Development at NetNut, according to, again, Alarim's own website. So interestingly enough, when you look into this, this is why organizations like the Internal Revenue Service are kind of brought in, because again, it's not that they were working with these researchers. They were doing this in silent for a year too. So the reason why the IRS are kind of brought into this is because really the important aspect here is identifying the money trail. See, if the Internal Revenue Service's CI division can identify and basically piece together the money movement, that'll, I believe, and again, I'm not an investigator like a police officer here, but I at least I can tell you this from my understanding, that it would build sort of like a motive trail, a money trail can be established to showcase the connection. The IRS is brought in specifically because they are the following the money type of investigators, and they obviously have more expertise there than the FBI or any of the other federal agencies. So again, I wanted to verify if there was any device on my network, not that I was really worried, but basically I made myself a little Pi hole, which is this small little Raspberry Pi that sits on my home network, effectively blocking any form of like advertising, right? So for instance, when I'm browsing the internet or any device connected to my entire system is browsing, it actually blocks a fair amount of trackers and ads and scummy things. I made a video on it a while back showing you how to set this up for yourself. You set it up once, never really have to look at it except maybe for a few updates and general maintenance. But yeah, you can see that I block a whole bunch of nasty shit that I don't want on my system. So the realistic part about it was I accessed the filtering and I was like, all right, let me look for NetNut. And aside from my own computer, basically me going to the actual website for showing you in this video, I didn't get anything on my system, right? If there was something maliciously connected, I could identify any domain that was being accessed that normally would not be something I was okay with. And then I could find the IP address or host, rip that shit out of my network, and stop being a fucking slave to this scummy Israeli fucking residential proxy provider, man. Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? There's a reason why the FBI jumps in and goes into it, because yes, there are criminals that use these networks to hide behind when they're doing terribly shitty things, And again, you can see that they were even so proud of anonymous proxies that they even had a patent that they talked about it too, right? Unlike conventional proxies, where proxy service client requests would be rerouted through an intermediate proxy device, thus potentially slowing down the connection and exposing a device's local network to security risks, NetNut's reflector method achieves the same end result without such detour. It cleverly uses the IP address of an intermediate device to initiate the connection, and after this initial step, client requests are sent directly to the target server. The method retains the benefit of using the proxy while masking the original IP address and avoiding the usual bottleneck of channeling all traffic through a third-party device, right? So again, they're finding clever ways to kind of protect themselves, but still use you as the public face for them scraping and fucking up the internet, right? Now, obviously, the reality of this, too, was that when the actual independent researchers came out and basically confronted these people, like the Alarim Technologies, they're like, yeah, these reports contain inaccurate assertions and flawed deductions, right? There was even, like, I guess you could say, like, the legal threats were kind of brought in, where they said they reserved the right to sue anyone publishing reports that might besmirch the company's brand, right? Again, I don't know if, like, a personal opinion or, like, a technical write-up is necessarily down for defamation, but again, it's America. You can sue anybody for anything.
ultimately, at the end of the day, now, because the FBI is investigating, they're like, hold on, we take it pretty seriously, and we're going to fully cooperate with the law enforcement agencies to ensure any misuse is thoroughly investigated. Which is funny that it's coming out after, you know, the FBI has got, like, court orders to take down entire domains.
64.
And again,
that's right,
me just speculating kind of over here, the IRS and the, you know, the IRS criminal division and the FBI are working on something. I'm going to reasonably imagine that they have more information that they haven't come out with yet. And I don't know if it's necessarily going to look good for a company like Alram or NetNut for crying out loud, right? But the reality of it is that when you purchase a fucking shady little cheapo device to like browse like the internet or like watch a few movies on the internet, or maybe, you know, for a lot of people get access to like free television, a lot of those scumbags will oftentimes sell you a hacked device or a, I guess you could say, a already pre-infected device with this connection in place, and they might be actually making money off of you and basically making you sit in this web of, again, not being safe on the internet. Right? And you know, for a lot of people that are really careful, right, you might have like a fucking girlfriend or a wife or like a parent or somebody in your house that might have bought this shit and plugged this in somewhere in their room. And I feel like if you do have this kind of stuff, you might want to have to talk to them. Maybe it might be better to like purchase something a little bit more legitimate, something, or maybe if you can take their device and flash it with like official stuff that doesn't contain the filthy little nut, if you will, right? It's a bad nut. It is what it is. But yeah, I saw this the other like day, and I was just like, there is no fucking way that this is right. But in reality, it is, right? And their shares have been plunging because ultimately, at the end of the day, the feds are going in this pretty fucking hard, as is Google, as is anybody, right? Because, you know, at the end of the day, we want to stop criminals and bad people, okay? And it doesn't matter. A company like Alram or a company or like a subsidiary like NetNut, at the end of the day, companies like this, in my opinion, are not companies that I'm ever a fan of. I don't think it should be okay to, without people's consent, have them be part of these like effective botnets around the world. Now, obviously, a lot of the work that I think NetNut does do is consensual, right? Meaning that maybe there are, like, if you download an application on, like, you know, say your television, so to speak, right?
They are connected, aren't they?
They may be loaded with some of this proxy stuff, so you've got to be very careful when you're fucking downloading shit, agreeing to any terms. Because there's a good chance that if you're part of any of these networks, you might be exposing yourself into being part of a giant, you know, unwitting criminal operation. Because these networks are so big and the access to them is kind of sold piecemeal that criminals buy this shit all the time to be able to keep themselves pretty safe online at your behest. But yeah, at the end of the day, Google has significantly degraded their network, right? Reduced the available pool by millions. Again, it's not a dead network, but reducing it by millions, according to Google, is some pretty impressive shit right here, right? Now, at the end of the day, they've also said, in addition to selling access to the network under the NetNut brand, NetNut has a robust seller program that allows white labeling of its network. Google has high confidence that many popular residential proxy brands are in fact just white labeling the NetNut. They literally call it a botnet. Which, good job, Google, I guess. While we expect this disruption to have a larger ripple effect across the ecosystem, observations after the disruption of IPVIA prove that individual networks do appear resilient. What we have observed is that when faced with the degradation of their own botnet, proxy operators begin buying capacity from their competitors, effectively becoming a reseller. We recognize that creating a lasting disruption in this fluid ecosystem means they gotta scale that shit up and target infrastructure of several of these interconnected operators, right? So it's a huge business, man. It really fucking is. And the reality of it is, it's crazy how this happens pretty openly. Like, again, you can go to their website and, you know, purchase access to it right here. Some would think, man, this seems illegal, right? But I guess the reality of it is not really, okay? If you're an Israeli company, I guess you can sell access to this. You know, not really thinking. It's crazy stuff, man. It really is. But yeah, the NetNut botnet was basically ripped apart a little bit, and a company associated with it doesn't exactly look like they're doing too fucking great. But anyways, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you learned something today. Hopefully, if you are part of the nut, it's time to start getting the fuck out of it, right? At the end of the day, listen, if you're somebody that wants to watch a game of FIFA on the internet, maybe it's better to pay for like an official streaming service for like, I don't know, the month, versus trying to be, smart and saving a whole bunch of money by thinking you're pirating it when really you just spent for the cheapest option and you bought an Android TV box from like the cheapest fucking dude imaginable, and that cheap guy probably loaded it with malware and is using you as a mark. Simple as that. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Mudahar, and I'm out.
All right.
Fucking Israelis, dude. Goddamn. Jesus Christ, these companies need to be stopped. All right, and it seems like the FBI is doing it.
Just called Donald Trump a hero. Would you call somebody who dodges the military a hero, sir? Answer my question. Don't change the subject. Would you call somebody who dodges the military a hero? Yes or no? Yes or no? Just answer the question. I'm asking you this. No, all military do not love him. That is a lie. But the question wasn't about all military. Hold on. The question wasn't about all military. Would you call somebody a hero who dodges the military? Yes or no?
Military love Trump.
Hello, Rich. What's on your mind today?
Yeah, enjoying your segment here. Don't agree too much with everything, but I'm Republican, and I'm going to tell you, there's one thing that I'd like to tell you. I believe with inflation and all of that, and I'm a developer 40 years now in the Scranton area. It's all Democrats here.
Okay.
And
so what do you,
I believe that it started with all the immigrants coming in.
Okay, so we'll get to that. Hold on.
All the cell phones, all the...
So hold on.
You're talking billions.
So hold on a second.
Billions of dollars.
All right, hold on a second. Let's back up a little bit. I would like to have a conversation with you. You said you disagree with me on a number of different things. Let's talk about Donald Trump. In the last year and a half, what has he done positive for the economy?
2011.
Well, listen. What president ever...
Hold on a second. I'm going to ask the question again. It wasn't about other presidents, even though I can give you plenty of examples of what Joe Biden did when he started office and when he left office. For example, when he left office, inflation was at 3%. Now it's at 4.2%. The unemployment rate was lower when he left office than it is now. If you want to talk about Bill Clinton... Hold on a second. You asked me a question. No. I'm here to have a conversation with you. You just asked a question. I'm responding to. I asked you a question. You didn't answer. I don't mind you disagree with me, sir. I think that's great. I'm glad you called in. You said you're a Trump supporter. I'm going to ask you the same question again. What has Donald Trump done positive for the economy by any metric in the last year and a half? Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Like I just said, under Biden, the gas...
I didn't ask you about Joe Biden. I asked you about Donald Trump. By the way, gas prices are double what they were when Trump took office. The question wasn't about Joe Biden.
Can he talk about Donald Trump?
Let's try this one more time. Sir, the question was, sir, you're not answering any of my questions and you're dodging all my questions. I'm going to ask you one more time.
Come on, Rich, get it together.
So, in the last year and a half, you said you're a Trump supporter. I would imagine you voted for Donald Trump. In the last year and a half, can you give me one metric based on our economy where Donald Trump has improved it? Give me one metric.
Let me explain.
No, you're not going to explain anything. Answer the question. Answer it now. Give me one example of what Donald Trump has done based on the economy in the last year and a half, one metric where he's done something positive. I just gave you a bunch of Joe Biden things when he left office. Give me one metric where something has improved. Go.
Biden waged war.
Oh my God.
You are not capable.
He cannot talk about Trump.
Let's ask this question again. And as I just mentioned, you Trump mushroom gobbling fool in Pennsylvania, inflation was at 3.0%. It's now 4.2%. The unemployment numbers have risen. The GDP growth has been abysmal since Donald Trump took office. The $175 billion in tariffs that he stole from the American people. An ill-advised war. When Donald Trump said he would be a peace president, he wouldn't get us in any war. He got us into a war. It's cost us $2 billion a day. He said he would end the war in Ukraine in 24 hours. He said he would lower all prices on day one. The only items in the supermarket that are lower now than they were when Trump took office are eggs and a few vegetables. So now I ask you for a sixth time, and this question has nothing to do with Joe Biden. What has Donald Trump accomplished with the economy by any metric that you can bring up in the last year and a half? The question is about Donald Trump.
Come on,
Please
Rich,
go,
I'm pulling
sir.
for you.
Please go, sir.
Come on, Rich.
Come on.
Look,
What you got?
you're asking me, and I'm telling you, in my opinion, the guy is a hero.
I didn't ask you your opinion on whether you think he's a hero. By the way, let's go with that. Since you couldn't answer my question, and I asked you the same question 6 times, can you name me anything he's done with the economy by any metric that is better now than it was when he took over? You couldn't answer it, so I'm going to assume the answer is no. That's the answer, that you just don't want to say it. So now that we've established that, you just called Donald Trump a hero. Would you call somebody who dodges the military a hero, sir? Answer my question. Don't change the subject. Would you call somebody who dodges the military a hero? Yes or no? Yes or no? Just answer the question.
All military.
I'm asking you this. No, all military do not love him. That is a lie. But the question wasn't about all military.
He's very unpopular in the military.
The question wasn't about all military. Would you call somebody a hero who dodges the military? Yes or no?
The military love Trump. I know.
I'm asking you the same question over and over again.
You can't answer any of your
making
questions.
General statements. I'm going to ask you one more time. If you dodge the military, does that make you a hero?
Are you telling me that the economy was better under Biden?
Yes.
Okay, so if the economy you think is better now than under Biden, please give me one metric when it comes to our economy that is better now than it was when Joe Biden left office. I've now asked you the same question 8 times.
You brought gas up, and I made the statement.
What's up?
Gas is higher under.
Gas is higher now than it was when Joe Biden left office. In fact, we've had the highest spike in gas prices in the last several months than we've had in years.
What else
so
you got?
I'm asking you the same question over and over again. You just asked me a question. You're saying that the economy isn't better now than it was under Joe Biden. I'm asking you to give me
Rich.
I'm asking you to give me one metric.
Pulling for you.
I'm asking you to give me one metric right now where the economy is better off in any facet in a year and a half plus into Donald Trump's administration than when he took over and when Joe Biden left. Can you
please? The industry coming in and being built.
What? So, I'm sorry, repeat.
I think he's talking about the immigrants built America. Is that what you said?
Hold on. I'm asking you what metric under the economy is better now than it was when Joe Biden left. Can you please answer that, sir? I've now asked you 10 times. And it's not gas.
And I'm telling you, look at the size of the industry coming in.
Look at the size.
Manufacturing is down.
So first of all, manufacturing is down.
Yes, by a lot.
Look at the size of the industry is not a metric based on our economy and how it's better now. I've now asked you the same question 11
Look
times.
At the size of the industry.
Sir, do you understand why I call people like you ill-informed? I'm glad you called into this show. I've asked you the same question, and I will continue to ask. By the way, Bill Clinton is the only president in our lifetime that left us with a surplus in the economy. So let's go with another metric when it comes to the economy. No, you can't do anything because you've proven you're not capable of answering a very basic question. Sir, how much debt did Donald Trump get us in his first go-around? Are you aware of that number, sir?
Phenomenal president.
Okay, you can say he's phenomenal, but that doesn't mean anything. I'm asking you for facts. How much money? Give me a policy. Give me the amount of money that Donald Trump got us in debt his first go-around. Do you know, sir?
He did a phenomenal job.
Okay, you can say he did a phenomenal job. He's great looking. He's a nice guy.
8.4 trillion.
That doesn't mean anything, sir. It doesn't matter whether you think he's great or not. I'm asking you, if you say someone's a good president, for example, I would say Joe Biden was a pretty good president. I thought the CHIPS and Science Act was great. I thought the student loan debt forgiveness was wonderful. I thought tax breaks for middle-class Americans were pretty darn good. Donald Trump gave the biggest tax breaks to the top 1% in excess of $100 billion. So now, sir, let me ask you another question, okay? Who is the guy who said he was going to be a peace president and he wasn't going to get us into any wars? Who said that, sir?
No more forever wars.
Sir, who said that? I didn't. The question wasn't about Bill Clinton, sir. I need you to focus, okay? The question was, who was the guy who said he was going to be a peace president and he wouldn't get us into any new wars? That's the question, sir. Who said that? Da 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 da. Sir, Who said that?
Listen, I understand.
No. You don't understand
This
anything.
guy hasn't said one productive thing.
Sir, I'm going to ask you again. Who was the president who said he would be a peace president and he wouldn't get us into any new wars? Sir, do you know the answer? Leonard, tell him the answer.
I think the answer is Donald J. Trump, Brian.
You're correct,
Ding,
Leonard.
ding, 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 ding,
Leonard,
ding,
you're
ding,
going to
ding,
be
ding.
second up. Sir, who's the person who said he would
Piss
end
this
the
little
war
girl
in
off,
Ukraine within
ain't it?
24 hours?
I know.
Hold on, but let's ask this gentleman first.
Director,
Sir, who's the
Senate.
person who said he would end the war within 24
Okay,
hours?
All right, now you're going to let me speak.
No,
or not?
no, you're going to answer my question or the
National
conversation is
security.
over.
Yeah, and I'm telling
Calm down
you.
again.
National
I
security.
think you said I'm telling you.
Who is the person who said the war in Ukraine would be over in 24 hours if he was elected president?
With a phone call.
Yeah, with a phone call. Sir, who said that? Who said that? Do you know?
No.
Leonard, help him out. He doesn't know.
Donald J. Trump
Ding,
said
ding,
he would
ding.
end it within
Wow.
24 hours with a simple phone call.
I'm going to tell you, if I'm Alex,
Ding, ding, ding,
Alex
ding, ding,
Trebek,
ding,
I would
ding,
be-
ding,
I'd be giving you a lot of awards, Leonard. Who is the person?
Come on,
sir?
Rich. You know the answer.
Hey, Richie.
We know you know the answer,
Hey,
Richie.
Richie. Who's the person who said he would
Director
lower
for
all the
Energy,
prices
Climate
on day
Change.
one? Richie, who was that?
Okay, now can I?
Richie, who is the person who said he would lower all the prices
Yes,
on day
speak.
one?
That's what we're waiting for. Go.
Answer the
Yeah,
question.
I know, Donald Trump. Yeah, I know.
Hey!
Oh my God! You did it. That's a victory right there. That's
No, wait. No, you wait. Who is the
CFR
person who
and
bragged about
Right,
going in?
right.
Who is the
You got
person who bragged about
CFR.
going into teenage girls' locker rooms without their permission on Howard Stern show?
Nah, Trump called.
Yes, he did do that. He did do
He
that.
admitted it
Who is
himself
the
live.
Sir, Richie in Pennsylvania.
Richie.
Who's the person who paid off Stormy Daniels $130,000 after he raw dogged her for 13 seconds, sir? Which is probably 12 seconds longer than you last with your wife. But with that being said, Richie in Pennsylvania, who's the person who paid off Stormy Daniels? Who did that, sir?
You're fucking.
Did you just swear? Oh, I think Richie's getting frustrated.
Oh, Richie, come on, man.
I-
We didn't even get to the tough question. We
I
didn't even
think-
get to the Epstein files yet.
Richie, I think the MAGA mushroom head is about to explode. It's about to explode. Hey, wait, let's go back to that first question. Leonard, do you remember the first question I asked him? Hey, Richie,
Taking your blood pressure medication?
Richie,
Come on, gee.
name me one economic metric where Donald Trump has improved this country economically since he took office. Name
Just
me
one.
one.
Go.
Just
One.
one, sir. Richie, name me one.
Listen to.
Chair.
I'm sorry,
Excuse me.
Excuse
Is
me.
it my turn now?
Yeah, it's your turn to answer a question. No. No. It's not
Come on,
how
Richie.
about. It's not how about, sir.
Research social.
Name me
national,
one
Bureau of
economic
Research.
metric. I've now asked you 15
All
times.
right.
Name me one economic metric.
Really?
Name me one economic.
Trillions of dollars.
Sir, I don't know what you're talking about. I need you to stay on topic, sir. Name me one economic policy. Name me one economic metric that has worked in the Trump administration the last year and a half.
Come on, Richie.
Will you please answer that question, sir? I'm begging you. I've now asked you 16 times.
Trillions of dollars he's bringing in.
What are you talking about?
Hold on. He's bringing in
And
trillions.
look at the industry.
Hold on.
Biden.
Hold
There's
on.
no proof of any of
Biden. Sir, where has he brought in trillions of dollars, sir? Sir, as we bring you back up, where
Every country, every company, Johnson & Johnson. Let's go on.
Johnson &
Every
Johnson?
country.
What? Okay, we
Don't you guys?
All right, sir, you're right. You're right.
Passport,
Sir,
yep,
sir, I'm paying attention, sir. By the way, the guy that I've asked the same question 17 times, name me
Football,
one
weather,
economic
passport,
metric. He
special
can't name it.
opportunities,
Sir, the reason why he's brought in some money, he's aligned his own pockets from dumb idiots like you.
What if he doesn't
who
know
buy
what
the
that
Trump
means?
Bibles. Dumb idiots like you buy the Trump Bibles. Dumb idiots like you have tried to invest in his crypto scheme. Dumb idiots like you have bought pieces of his jacket when he was indicted. So, sir, you have no idea what you're talking about. And doesn't it say something, sir, about you? That you can't even name one policy or one economic metric where we're better off now than we were a year and a half ago. I've literally asked you 16 or 17 times, and you can't answer a basic
Come on,
question.
you're on the full live, Richie.
So I guess, sir, I've tried to be respectful with you for the last 10 minutes or so, and I would like 10 minutes of my life back. But, sir, do you realize how stupid you are as a dumb American? Do you realize what a dummy you are? Do you realize that you are Donald Trump's base? You are your typical middle-aged, old, white, racist Trump supporter. That's what you are. You're a crusty, old, white man who probably is a racist.
Sitting around the house blaming immigrants.
You glorify Orange Man. You blame Democrats, and yet you can't name one policy that has worked under Donald Trump because you are. No, I'm dead right.
No, because there is none. That's why.
You're an ignoramus. Okay, prove me wrong. Okay, hold on, one more time. Sir, this is your chance to prove me wrong. Can you name me one economic policy? And can you name me by one metric, based on our economy and where it's at right now, where we are better off today than we were when Joe Biden left office? Go ahead, sir.
Oh, did he hang up?
Oh, it part of the other family.
Oh, and I knew the answer too. I wanted him to say because I knew the answer.
Gosh darn it, I was so ready.
But do you see how these MAGAs, they can't even mention his name, Brian? I have MAGA friends and people in my family who will discuss politics, but you know what? None of them like to discuss Donald Trump for that very reason, because they cannot win the argument. There's no facts, no circumstances. There's nothing good to say about the guy. I thought you were going to ask him next. Name one good thing that came out of the war with Iran. Name one thing that America benefited from.
Unfortunately, Baby Richie hung up the phone.
Pretty much tied it in with the rest of it.
He was trying to make the case that Donald Trump is a hero. He was trying to make the case that Trump is a great president. I asked him to name one metric in the economy that is better off today than it was a year and a half ago. I literally asked him 20 times and he couldn't answer the question. These people are some of the dumbest people that America has to offer.
Well, what about Johnson & Johnson, Brian?
Found a task rabbit. That's it. It might be alright. I made my man. Service Hitman. Alright. Oh, it's the old list, but still just. Comment.
Came for the weed eater.
behave. Watch out. Hey! Get it. You want to go, baby? You need to go potty. Oh, mister. Sweet baby. Come on. There you go.
Come on. Let's go. Where'd she go? Alright, I'll get her in a second. Stay. I didn't know what the hell. Una was being all weird. You know? Una was being all weird. So, was not what I was doing. And,
I got you on the list. Alright.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She must have heard you go out. I didn't
Recent
hear you go.
find that Jeffrey Epstein was worth
You know?
$577 million at the
That
time
must
of his
be why
death.
she was being
He had
weird.
multiple mansions,
So.
2 private jets, a Manhattan penthouse, and his own island, obviously. He's also friends with presidents, royalty, celebrities, and billionaires. He was a college dropout, wasn't a certified tax professional, yet he was the tax consultant. So the real question is, how does someone with no formal education end up advising billionaires on taxation and turn that into $500 million? Because this isn't someone who started out rich. Started out as a high school teacher teaching calculus and physics.
Someone that knows the fucking process.
1973, he's about 20 years old. He just dropped out at NYU.
He on the
and
Gene Keating,
has
he
zero
you know
teaching experience.
something about
But somehow, Donald Barr, the headmaster at the time, hires
the
him
fucking
into one of
tax
the most
system
elite
that
private schools in New York.
most people don't fucking know.
Normal. He teaches there for a couple of years, and surprisingly, the students actually like him. They describe him as flamboyant and confident, and some say he acted more like a college TA than a high school teacher, which makes it totally believable. Fast forward to 1976. At a parent-teacher conference, he meets Alan H. Shapiro. Shapiro wasn't just some random parent. He was a senior trader and executive at Bear Stearns. At that time, Bear Stearns was the 5th largest investment bank in the United States. Shapiro meets Epstein and practically begs him to come work for him at Bear. You gotta remember, he's only 23 here. He was making maybe $10,000 to $15,000 a year as a teacher, and his net worth was probably sitting just under $50K. And this was too good of an opportunity to pass upon. And I'd be stupid not to take mine and ask you to subscribe to my channel if you're enjoying this so far.
On that list.
And so, just like that, Epstein leaves teaching and walks into Wall Street and starts at the very bottom as a junior assistant to a floor broker. He's probably making somewhere between 30 to 50K base plus commissions, probably more than double of what he made as a teacher. Wall Street in the 1970s wasn't whether you had your master's from Columbia or got your PhD from Yale. It was about relationships, and Epstein was good at that. He was charismatic, he made the right connections, he got himself in the right rooms, and always met the right people at the right time. Within a year, he moved up to floor trader. Now he's trading options, tax-free municipal bonds, aggressive high-volume positions, and the pay jumped fast. He was probably making 200 to 300K a year, and he was still only in his mid-20s. And by 1980, just 4 years after joining the firm, at 27 years old, he was made a limited partner. That is incredibly fast. And yes, it probably didn't hurt that he was dating the CEO's daughter. But in just 4 years, he went from a $15,000 a year teacher to someone potentially clearing close to $1 million annually. His net worth at this point was likely somewhere between $500 to $1 million.
Then in 1981, the SEC began investigating Bear Stearns over insider trading tied to municipal bonds, which Epstein was leading. No charges were filed against Epstein personally, but not long after that, he was politely asked to resign. He leaves Wall Street and decides to start International Assets Group, IAG, an asset recovery business. His business model was simple. If money was stolen, hidden, embezzled, or parked somewhere offshore, he claimed he could find it. And he was set to charge a pretty hefty fee, anywhere from 25 to 35% of the money recovered. One of the most publicly cited cases tied to IAG was a Saudi-related arms deal. Through connections linked to arms dealer Adnan Khashoggi, who was connected with the Saudi royal family, Epstein recovered around $10 million in lost funds. He's said to have made $2.5 to $3 million from this single deal, putting his net worth somewhere between $5 and $10 million. The Saudi deal put IAG on the map. Word spread, and now Epstein isn't just some Wall Street guy. He's the guy who fixes complicated money problems. Through this visibility, he gets connected to billionaire retail mogul Leslie Wexner. Wexner built L Brands, the parent company behind Victoria's Secrets and Bath & Body Works. At his peak, he was worth $6 billion. People warned Wexner about Epstein, and even one of his advisors called him a rat and told him not to trust him. Wexner ignored it and still decided to bring Epstein in. At first, it was simple tax planning and portfolio strategy on roughly a $2 billion portfolio. Epstein charged 1%, making about $20 million a year. Over time, he clawed his way into the organization. Epstein bought and merged 3 Manhattan apartments right next to Wexner's $77 million townhouse. Weird and shady, but okay. He later began managing Wexner's family foundation, which had about $200 million in assets. And then something changed. Wexner signed over complete power of attorney over his finances, investments, and real estate worth about $2 billion. Wexner even gave away his 71st Street Manhattan mega mansion valued at $88 million to Epstein for just $1. Epstein gained control over his $100 million yacht Limitless, his $500 million Ohio development project, the Zorro Ranch and Palm Beach properties, estimated around $50 million. At this point, Epstein is completely running things. He oversaw L Brands investments, real estate, and private assets, and he was generating over $100 million in management fees. After nearly 2 decades, their relationship fell apart. Wexner revoked the power of attorney and accused Epstein of fraud. He was only able to recover $46 million, but Epstein walked away with over $200 million. And while all of this is happening at IAG, Epstein is also consulting for Tower Financial, a debt collection agency founded by his friend Stefan Hoffenberg. It starts off as a legitimate debt collection business. They buy disrespect for cheap, try to collect on it, and make money. Pretty standard stuff. Over time, they move into junk bonds, risky corporate debt that promises much higher returns. And then they get bold. They start selling something called Tower Financial Notes. Here's how it worked. Tower buys debt cheaply, bundles it together, and promises investors anywhere from 20 to 50% returns. But instead of generating real profits, they use the new investor money to pay off old investors. A classic Ponzi structure. They end up raising about $460 million from over 8,000 investors, including pension funds and retirees. With that money, they try to buy the New York Post, they attempt a hostile takeover of Panham, and both fail horribly. This kind of publicity puts them on the SEC's radar, and in 1989, the whole thing collapses. The SEC charges Hoffenberg with 20 counts of securities fraud. He pleads guilty and serves 18 years in prison. And Epstein? No charges. He leaves right before the collapse. Hoffenberg later sues him and claims that Epstein knew everything and he was deeply involved, but the case gets dismissed. Once again, Epstein walks away freely. By now, he's done with IAG and shifts his focus. He decides that he's only going to work with billionaires. And that's when Leon Black comes in. Leon Black is the co-founder and former CEO of Apollo Global Management, one of the largest private equity firms in the world, managing close to $1 trillion in assets. At his peak, he was worth about $15 billion. He also has a $2 billion art collection, including Picassos and Van Goghs. Black hires Epstein for tax strategy and estate planning. Epstein structures trusts worth between
It's a
$1 to $2 million. He's involved in complex tax strategies. He's involved with the office matters. In the whole course of about 7 years, Epstein has paid $158 million, around $100 million in management fees, and another $58 million in forgiven loans. Add that to the Wexner money, the consulting fees, and the assets. That's how you end up with $577 million.
Is your money dirty money? If you will. And Mark, just answer your question. Is your money dirty money?
Yeah, I think that's smaller than me. Come on.
FCC. Golden State. CFR, yeah, State Department.
So what do you think's going on with these orbs? Because I got Chris Bledsoe sees them all the time and he films them, and then they don't always manifest in things, but like he goes outside.
They
and
drop
orbs
over
surround
on the
him.
airplane, like.
So there's have you seen that stuff?
Yeah, I know, it's fascinating.
It's crazy.
It's really fascinating.
I mean, either the guy's the greatest magician of all time, or like there's something crazy going on there. And it seems to be tied to like, according to him, and if you're familiar with the story, like the guy's been through like insane trauma his whole life, psychological and physical. So the people that speculate that like maybe there's a connection between people that have gone through tons of trauma and like opening a portal in their consciousness to being able to summon or see this stuff.
I think that is true, and sometimes the phenomenon causes the trauma that opens up that portal. I mean, that's what happened to me. I mean, I grew up when I was a kid, and then later on in life, I started having a lot of paranormal experiences, like precognition and stuff. You know, like I would see things in some kind of second sight, and I think it does come from my experience as a kid. Getting back to Chris Bledsoe, I think he's genuinely a good dude. I really do. I've said this before, I don't trust the phenomenon at all. And those of us like who study the folklore and the phenomenon at large, like almost like a cultural anthropologist, we go back in time and we say, okay, how many times has the White Lady been witnessed?
Right, Hathor, right?
Absolutely. So it's not limited to his experience, respectfully. It's not. It's other people, and even Jim Citivan said this, yeah, people in the intelligence community have witnessed this White Lady. Now, here's something that's interesting. He said that what he witnessed and what they witnessed in the intelligence is completely different than what's being presented to us by people, you know, that are creating an area where she's love and light, right? She's just there to raise our consciousness. No, she terrified them first. Shadow figures.
Right.
What are we doing? Shadow figures in the home terrorizing the kids, and this is what we're dealing with. Again, I thought we're just talking about UFOs,
right?
Or a white lady. No, we're not. We're talking about something that, like, it's the hitchhiker effect, but it's a deeper, darker aspect of it.
Yeah.
Where I'm going to manifest in your home. I'm going to give you false prophecies. And the problem I have with the field, with this particular nuance, is like none of that's being presented to us. It's always strictly, well, she's here to raise our consciousness. It's the divine feminine. And what Sydney Van said is something more along the lines of what we're seeing in the field. Is like, yeah, she's not all love and light.
That's what Semi Van said?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that she terrorizes people, and she's being accompanied by shadow figures. And so, with respect to the disclosure movement, I think that's an area that they're going towards. That's why Jay Stratton wrote his book. When Jay Stratton's book, it's out now, but
he's the guy who advised Dan Farah on the Age of Disclosure movie.
Yes.
And he basically pointed Dan Farah where to go, who to talk to.
Right. So that's one aspect of disclosure that I agree with, because it's what I found to be true in my own research, is that there's a sting in this tale. And it's not just the hitchhiker effect. It's almost as if even some of the witnesses to UAPs, it's like, yeah, we tell the witnessing of the UAP story. Disclosure.
Yeah.
We don't talk about the shadow figures the disembodied voices, and the malevolent haunting that followed. And that's why Wachowski's work to me is so important. I know people have their issues with him. It's whatever. I'm after data. I don't really care about who dislikes who. So the data's real, and what he said was, guys,
I feel bad for that mom.
right? We're focusing on, okay, this witness saw that. We're not focusing on the fact that after we talked to them a little bit more, they came out with the fact that, yeah, it's not just UFOs. We're being haunted by something that's in our homes at nighttime, that's affecting our children. Right. And that's why it's so important to say, okay, if we're going to include all the data, let's include all the data.
And that's the kind of shit that would make me go to church if that started happening to me. I would fucking start going to church every day.
Disembodied voice. Direct voice phenomenon, though, is, and that's what they're talking about, is some of the scariest manifestations. That, I mean, you're talking about, just picture this. It's at nighttime, right? And you're in bed, and you wake up for no reason. This has happened. And in the middle of the night, a man's voice calls you by name, and you don't know where it's coming from. It's just there. That's what they're dealing with. And so somewhere within these manifestations, I'm wondering if the UAP manifestation itself, or witnessing itself, is not really what's going on. It's it's almost like a parasite, where that's what you see initially. Something else is going to come home with you, and that's the truth.
Yeah, like one of the things that just blows my mind about Bledsoe's story is how all these CIA people are like gravitating towards it. I mean, these government officials and NASA people like surrounding him, so, like befriending him, and even that spooky Tim Taylor dude, like befriending him and telling him all this insane stuff, and like giving him the briefcase, holding the medals, and like having this, like, that seems like some sort of like circus act to me.
It very well could be.
Like not that I'm not saying Bledsoe's making it up. What I'm saying is that I feel like it's that dude or those people intentionally trying to confuse him or make him believe a false narrative about something.
Like where she's kind of, I guess, moving around.
I think that does play a role in it.
Yeah.
I also tend to sympathize with Richard Bandler's position. It wasn't just that the metamaterials they held in their hands, it would dissolve in dust. It was, if that was not designed for
when she pops back up, he's gonna grab the food and water,
then it will return to dust, and it will blend in with its reality. Because if you aren't the one, the phenomenon gifted this to and for, it will dissolve. But if you are, it will allow you specifically to reverse engineer it, essentially.
Right.
So that if you take that, again, specifically what he said about holding it in your hand, it would appear to me as if there are two things going on. When I hear Ryan Bledsoe say that the government believed my dad was Merlin, that falls on deaf ears.
Did he say that?
Yes.
Who told him that?
I have no idea.
Find that.
I'll send it to you for the show.
I've seen it.
Yeah. So I did it on a podcast, but it's fascinating to me because people say, okay, that's hilarious. Like, no. He's not saying that. From my position, it's not like, okay, he's actually Merlin. Merlin was a category.
Yes.
Right? Not just a person. Later on, it became a category of a person that was in contact with the phenomenon.
Well, if I was the government and I found a person, I knew I had the best idea.
Oh, they got
I knew what was going on. And we were trying to keep it a secret and not let it out to the public. And we found a person, a civilian, who had some kind of crazy connection I didn't understand. I would study the fuck out of him. Right. And I would also make him believe that he was Jesus Christ.
Exactly. Yes,
because then way he would go out of the public and people would fucking write him off. This guy thinks he's Jesus. Get out of here.
You would be able to capture all your actionable data, and then after you're finished,
dispose of it.
Exactly.
It's the best way to do it.
And that sucks. I mean, I really feel
it's terrible.
Like
if that's true, that's but that's their.
It is true that it's despicable.
But that's what they've historically done to people.
Yeah. They just throw you away.
Yeah.
And the sad part about that is it's not like the phenomenon leaves them. They're still going through that. It's just the government got everything they needed from that particular case study, adios, onto the next. And so what's even worse than that is convincing them that they're the only ones that have seen the White Lady, and their interpretation of her is the accurate one, and nobody else's. And I think, again, that's the government telling them, like, okay, this is the only interpretation. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, they're like, yeah, there's a lot more to her than what we're allowed to say. So, and that's what I think happened, essentially, is that they found out that he was in contact, or she was in contact with him. Said, okay, let's test, right? So that's what happened. Tim Taylor was at the house, and out of nowhere, he pulls Ryan aside, according to Ryan's testimony. He goes, okay, hold this for me. Or his dad, hold this. And yeah, so it's a fascinating case study. I don't trust the government, and I don't trust the phenomenon. I just don't.
If you enjoy watching our show on Spotify or YouTube and you want to be more involved, I encourage you to please come check out our Patreon community. Not only does our Patreon community get every episode you see on YouTube early, fully uncensored, and ad-free, but we're also doing Patreon exclusive episodes, as well as live Q&As, and you can get your personal questions answered by our guests every single week. For me, being able to collaborate and communicate back and forth with our Patreon community every week has been huge, and this is my way of saying thank you for the cost of a cup of coffee a month.
Well, who the fuck is this? Huh? You say it's not him. What fucking proof you're gonna offer? Because if I could. Price line shows you. Connections to him at fucking. Close these out for now. Wait.
Remember how, in our recent video, solving the Dialog incident mystery, we said it was our most ambitious video yet? Well, we may have already outdone ourselves, because this time, we're tackling one of the biggest current mysteries of our time, Epstein's supposed death, and their... It's normal to record something called padding, basically more footage than you need at the beginning and end, sometimes of just black. So when the footage was brought into Adobe Premiere Pro, that padding at the end of the first video was trimmed, and at the same time, the aspect ratio was fixed to be more viewable.
Alright. Got that.
Hit that like, share the show.
Focus on that we think the end goal was to come.
Oh, nobody's talking about how he could have been switched out. No, I've never said that either. Never went over and kind of briefly shown where he had ties to, what was his name? Richard? Is it Richard? I don't recall the name. American Bank, no company. That would be no significance. Have that kind of connection to get new documents. No, that's nothing.